What's up, YouTube? I'm Christophernegroni, and yes, indeed, I bought another watch. And yes, I have a problem, okay? But the first step is admitting you have a problem. Plus, this watch is incredible, guys. This watch is quite possibly the best modern Rolex that nobody is talking about. A watch that nobody wanted. A watch that undoubtedly will be a future classic. In fact, if I had to put my money on it, I would bet that this watch will become highly collectible, highly sought after in the coming future. Let's go! It's new watch day, baby! Another day, another Rolex, guys. I couldn't help myself. I've really been analyzing my collection, and this was a watch I thought showed off what I love about the brand and really rounds out the collection nicely. Without further ado, let me show you what I picked up. Alrighty, here we go. And there she is, the Rolex Sea Dweller, reference 116600, the last true Sea Dweller. Now this example is a 2017 minty condition, full set, box, card, unnamed card might I add. For someone like me that really loves the details, I was very pleased to discover that I could write my own name on the card, something very trivial to most, but for me it's very special. Let me tell you guys something. I had one hell of a time finding a clean example of this watch. Now, although my criteria was pretty strict, I thought it was pretty reasonable. I didn't mind finding an example that had been lightly polished, as long as it was done properly. Some of my preferences were a 2016 or a 2017, as I wanted something relatively newer. I wanted a relatively new watch. A non-negotiable for me was original box, original papers. However, an unnamed card, that was not a must, but it's definitely a plus. So I plan on making a video kind of highlighting some of the negative aspects I ran into while looking for this watch. Now you're gonna wanna look out for that video because some of the games that these gray market dealers tried to play were shady as f. But I really don't wanna get into that in this video. Rather, I wanna give a quick shout out to the dealer that I found this wonderful example from. Now, if you're familiar with the Rolex forum, then you probably already know this seller. Takuya Watches provided an experience that completely contrasted my previous encounters when looking for this watch. Unlike many of the dealers I contacted prior, Takuya was knowledgeable, he was patient, and most importantly, he was honest about the condition of the watch. He could tell he was dealing with a very detail-oriented collector, and he knew exactly what I was looking for. Not only did he answer all my questions in a professional and kind manner, which can be difficult when dealing with someone with a little bit of a OCD, you could say. But he went above and beyond to provide additional pictures from just about every angle I requested. I never got the sense that he was feeding me what I wanted to hear just to make the sale, and he also alleviated my concerns about his watchmaker and elaborated on the experience that he has. By the time I was ready to send the wire, I felt very confident that I knew exactly what I was getting. So shout out to Takuya. Check out his inventory. He curates some of the hottest watches in Rolex, Omega, Patek, and AP. He has great photography, provides outstanding customer service. If you don't believe me, check out the hundreds of reviews posted on the Rolex forum. He's pinned as one of the few trusted sellers on the forum. So again, thank you to Takuya. Awesome experience. Again, I'm gonna make a dedicated video kind of breaking down the gray market and the dealers that I trust, like Takuya, OC Rolex Guy, Lunar Oyster, just to name a few, because the reality is there are some great hidden gems out there, like this SD4k. And when looking for these watches, you really have to buy the seller. So keep a lookout for that video. I think you guys will get a lot of value out of it. Back to the Sea Dweller, or better known as the SD4k, to collectors who know what's up. So why is the Sea Dweller so special, you ask? To put it short, the Sea Dweller has what many modern Rolex dive watches lack. That is character. Because it's in the details that set it apart from every other Rolex dive watch that give it that character. For starters, it remains a 40mm Sea Dweller. Unlike the current Sea Dweller, behemoth of a 43, it has a beautifully raised crystal without a cyclops. This thing really catches light from all sorts of angles. It just adds more to look at, more dimension to this watch. You've got that classic tapering 20mm oyster bracelet. And one of the most beloved aspects of this watch are the very elegantly trimmed lugs and crown guards. This is a feature that almost feels like Rolex's apology for the super case. It's as if somebody at Rolex put their foot down and insisted on this classic form factor. When you put together the combination of 40mm in diameter, slim lugs, crown guards, and a 20mm bracelet, it really makes you feel like you're wearing a pre-ceramic watch in proportion, but with all the best parts of modern Rolex, such as a ceramic bezel, those massive lume plots and hands filled with superluminova, and a modern, solid oyster bracelet with the greatest class because we have glide lock. Oh, and of course, we have a dive extension if you need it. It's really a magical watch on wrist. Yes, it's slightly thicker than a sub at 15mm in height. But somehow, because of the form factor and how that height is broken up between case back and crystal, it actually wears much smaller than the current and previous generation ceramic Submariners. So the watch wears great. But let's talk about more of the charm that this watch has, because it also features a matte black dial, something I absolutely adore. As much as I love the inky black dials, a matte black dial feels much sportier. You pair that with a fully graduated mill sub look, and it's just a badass looking dive watch. For me, I wanted something truly special, and because every detail about this watch is slightly different than the rest, you get that. And I love it. I love that everything about this watch is slightly different. I love the case back engraving, something Rolex only does for their most technologically important watches. I love that the inside of this clasp has a bead blasted finish instead of a fully polished finish. All of these details, they really remind me of how older Rolexes would evolve through history, through necessity. These transitional models were always so cool because it was Rolex innovating on their feet. And that always resulted in a watch that felt more like a watch that was meant to be used rather than a perfected, shiny product like they do today. Rolex wanted a Sea Dweller in 40mm, but they didn't quite have the perfect links for these elegant lugs. They required depth rating results in this beautifully raised crystal, and they weren't quite ready to put a Cyclops on the Sea Dweller, so you still have that classic Sea Dweller look. The result of all these details and the subsequent changes that would follow for the Sea Dweller was a production of approximately 2.5 years and Rolex's shortest ceramic sports Rolex so far. Ladies and gentlemen, the first and last 40mm ceramic Sea Dweller in Rolex's history. I will take that any day of the week. I fucking love this watch, you know? In a world filled with black Submariners, Batmans, Pandas, this watch is very refreshing. It's a watch that truly feels like a tool watch. It's a watch that wants to be worn. I love Rolex. They're so cool. Guys, if you've thought about picking up an SD4k, now's the time, okay? Clean examples like this one are becoming harder and harder to find every day, trust me. And I'm very fortunate, as this is one of the last examples, dated June of 2017, about 2 months after the discontinuation of this model. So this is truly one of the last of the last. If you can't tell, I'm very excited to have this watch in my collection. Such a special watch. I was really itching to wear this thing all week, but I had to keep it nice and pristine to shoot all the B-roll. And now that summer's coming around, I'm super excited to wear this thing in the pool, the ocean, the jacuzzi, of course, with the drinks, the pina coladas. I'm ready to make memories with this thing. Actually, I'm gonna be taking this thing diving this summer on a trip to Greece. So, I mean, that's the dream, right? Take a diving watch diving. That's what every watch enthusiast dreams about doing. Now I know, in reality, I'll be taking this thing probably like 75 feet underwater, but you know, it's nice to know that it can go another 3,900 feet. No problem. It's the dream, guys. Don't kill my dream, okay? Just let me go diving with my dive watch. Let me know, are there any SD4k fans out there? Are you one of the lucky ones that has this fantastic watch in your collection? Are you a Sea Dweller fan? Are you on Chrono24 looking at prices right now? Be careful, all right? Be careful out there. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Negroni out.